Good morning and welcome to our kitchen. I'm Gordy Galusha.
I'm Nancy Ostresh.
Today we're going to be making a ham and macaroni casserole, an apple spiced apple carrot casserole, and an apple crisp pie. And we're going to start out with Nancy this morning.
Okay, thank you. This is fall time when we're filming this, so we're going to be heavy on the apples for a while. And
Pumpkin and all that good stuff.
I will just have to start with my casserole, and I'll get my onions going, and then I'll turn it back over to you. So in this saucepan here, I have a 1/4 cup of margarine or butter that I have melted, and I'm going to be adding a 1/4 cup of chopped onion. This is a kind of a different take on macaroni and cheese and ham, but it is different. So I will start this and saute it until it's softened, and while that's happening, I'll let you start your
Okay.
pie.
All right. Today I'm going to make an apple crisp pie. And first of all, I have a store-bought crust, which is not bad. They're just almost as good as homemade, but it's
Fine with me.
it's I like sometimes to make my own pie crust, but I use this too. So I have one pie crust, and I am going to put it into my pie plate. This is a very, very easy pie to make. If you like apple crisp, you'll like this. It's almost like it. Okay, I'm going to turn this under, and then I'm going to crimp it. I think I am anyway. Okay. In my bowl here, I have 4 cups of apples sliced, and you are to make an apple pie filling, which is the same apple pie filling that I make when I make apple pie. In there is 4 cups of apples sliced, and I have cinnamon and sugar. I have a couple teaspoon, I say a teaspoon of cinnamon and a cup of sugar, and I'm going to put it inside here, and I get it all crimped over. It's very easy to make. And this is the season for apples and all spices and everything nice.
What apples do you like to use for baking pies, Gordy?
I use Macintosh.
Okay. There are so many different kinds out there now,
I know it.
and but the Macintosh seems to be the one we always remember growing up.
Well, they seem to cook better they don't take as long to cook.
And some they say is perfect for baking. Some say they're
Well,
good.
there's Northern Spies that a lot of people use, and there's Delicious, which is good for eating, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go over my apple skin. I have 4 cups of sliced apples, and a cup of sugar, and a teaspoon of cinnamon, and I'm going to put it into my pie crust. Okay. Okay, there's the apple part. Now in my bowl here, I have a half a cup of flour, a fourth cup of oats, a half a cup of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and a teaspoon of nutmeg. And I'm going to put in 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to mix this around so it'll be crumbs. It's easier to mix it with your hand because you can get it all mixed up better. Okay. When you get this all mixed up, you take your streusel mix and you spread it on top of your pie. This is apple crisp in a pie shell.
Heavy.
Okay. Okay. Now that's what it looks like when the streusel is on it, and you bake it in a 350 oven for 35 minutes to 40 minutes until it's nice and brown and juicy, and that's what it looks like. I'm going to put it in the oven now. Hope that it doesn't run over. Okay. And I'm going to set my timer for about 40 minutes. And back to Nancy.
Okay. The onions have cooked down, and now I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of flour. This could be considered thinking about comfort food. We haven't had to think too much about it this October when we're filming because it's been quite warm, but it's going to change. We know that. Take it off the heat so I don't get lumps. Okay. Next we're going to slowly add 2 and about 3/4 cups of milk. I want to add 1/4 cup of the recipe called for green pepper. I had some red pepper left over from another recipe, so I'm using red. Doesn't matter, red or green. I don't really like pepper a lot. Sometimes I think the red is not quite so gassy or bothering me anyways, but not everybody, of course. So, in goes the 1/4 cup of red pepper. Now, it also called for a 4-ounce can of diced pimentos. That would be with the green pepper. I am covering that with a little bit more of the red pepper instead of buying also the pimento. And then the other last one is a 4-ounce can of mushrooms, stems and pieces that you have drained. Right now I have pre-cooked 7 ounces dry macaroni, elbow macaroni. Okay, it takes time to make a good cream sauce. You don't want to do it too fast because you'll get lumps. And the other thing I tend to do is not put quite all the amount of milk or liquid in all together. I might leave a little aside to see how it's going to thicken up, and if I need it later, when it gets thick, I can always add the milk. So to that, I've still got to add some of my seasoning, and I'm going to add some nutmeg, just a little bit, a dash. Salt and pepper to taste. You don't want flour, you want salt. And some pepper. Let me take this off. Don't want it to get too... Okay. Mix that well. Now you'll notice I have not added any cheese yet. In this bowl here, I have the 7 ounces of elbow macaroni that has been cooked and drained. And I'm going to pour in my sauce.
Do you have a spoon, Nancy?
Yep, I'm all set. Mix it into the macaroni. Okay, I'm at a 9 by 13 baking dish that I've spray greased, and I'm going to spoon half of this mixture into the baking dish. Now I've got 1.5 cups of fully cooked, chopped or diced ham. The nice thing about cooking, not baking, but cooking, if you want to add a little bit of extra of some ingredient, it's not going to make too much of a difference. Can't do that with baking. You have to be pretty precise. This is going to serve 6 to 8 people. I think good for potluck, good for a large family, good for leftovers, I'm sure. Now, how about some cheese, finally? I want a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Sprinkle that over your ham and macaroni. Okay, top with the remaining elbow macaroni and sauce. As evenly as you can. Okay. This is going to go into a 375 or 350. Basically everything is cooked. You just want it to get warmed, heated up all the way through. Finish it off with another bit of Parmesan cheese. Bake uncovered for 20-30 minutes until it's nice and bubbly. Okay. Now we'll break for a minute or two while I set up for the carrot and apple casserole that will complement the ham and macaroni. So we'll break and be back shortly. Now that I've set everything up for our side dish, the spiced apple carrot casserole. Again, we're using fall vegetables, carrots, even though you get them all year round. They're considered the root vegetable, always in good supply and good for you. I have a baking dish, not quite as big as the 9 by 13, but I have sprayed it with the shortening, and I'm going to make a little mixture of 1 tablespoon packed brown sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, and an 1/8 of a teaspoon. How about a dash of nutmeg again? And if I don't think that's enough, for the finishing the recipe, I will make some more. Okay, now I've got 2 cups of sliced carrots, which I parboiled, kind of crisp tender, and I have 3 apples of your choice that I have peeled and sliced. I did this ahead of time, and I used a little bit of lemon juice so that they would not go brown. So what I'm going to do now is spread apples, half the apples and half the carrots in the baking dish. Then in between, I'm going to sprinkle my brown sugar mixture. Over the top. Add some more, another layer of the apples. And the rest of the carrots. This will feed 6 people. And then finish off with what I have left of and then dot about a tablespoon of butter or margarine. Over the top. Okay. You want that, cover that with aluminum foil. And that can go in at 350 also, for about 35 to 40 minutes to cook down the apples. So, when we come back, we'll be at our table to show you our finished product of our Comfort Fall menu today. Welcome back to our table. Today we did 3 different items for comfort food fall, because we're filming this in late October. But it hasn't been that cold yet, but it'll get there.
Yes, it's coming.
It's coming. So I started out by putting together a ham and macaroni dish, a different take on macaroni and cheese, because I made a white sauce and added onion and red pepper or green pepper, mushrooms to the sauce after it thickened. And then I added that whole mixture to elbow macaroni, mixed that all up, poured half of that mixture in a baking dish, then took my ham, my cubed ham, and spread it, sprinkled over the macaroni, and then the cheese I used was Parmesan cheese this time. Then I finished off by finishing the rest of the macaroni over the ham and Parmesan, and spread it around, and then sprinkled more Parmesan cheese on top. To go with it, I made a spiced apple carrot casserole. Simple dish of cooking your sliced carrots up first to get them tender, crisp, and then but slicing 3 apples, putting them layer them on in another baking dish. Sprinkle on some brown sugar, ginger, and nutmeg. Not cinnamon this time. That's why the apples are not dark color. And put more vegetable on and finished off with the mixture I made. That went into the oven and baked. And how about you, Gordy?
Well, today I made an apple crisp pie, which is very easy to make. There's only 8 ingredients. First of all, I used a store-bought pie crust. It doesn't hurt at all. It's very easy, but you can also make your own pie crust. And I cut up 4 cups of apples, and I made an apple pie filling, which is 4 cups of apples, cinnamon, sugar, and a little bit of flour. And to my rest of my streusel topping, I put in half flour and Quaker oats and brown sugar and cinnamon and nutmeg, and I melted 4 tablespoons of butter, and I mixed it all up with the brown sugar and the oats and put it on top of my pie. It looks just like apple crisp, but it is apple crisp, but it's in a pie shell. So this would be a good pie for Thanksgiving or any time for a party or any time for
Anytime.
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 Anytime you can make this. And you can when it cools down, you can serve it with vanilla ice cream. If you'd like any of these recipes, please send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Dalton Community Cable, 151 Park Avenue, Dalton, Mass. 01226. And that is all from our kitchen today. Have a very good day.